Hey guys, welcome to another update of the Adirondack Valley Central. It has been approximately 3 months since the last update. Some stuff has been added, not a lot of progress as I have been doing, just due to being really busy on the road and performing and working. So just saving some money for certain projects. That's why I could finish some things before the end of the year. Okay, so here we have the interchange track and the brewery siding. And the brewery is going to consist of 2 buildings, and the one in the foreground is eventually going to be a silo and a building flat. It's not going to be that 4 inches thick as you can see. It's more going to be maybe 1 inch, 2 inches in width. It's just basically just a building flat because I need room for the grain silos for the wheat in order to make the beer. So I got an idea from Mile Railroader for the Yingling that they had for the Yingling switching. They had a grain silo look like and a warehouse building or assembly building. So I have 2 buildings here. One's gonna be the grain silo connected to this particular building, which will be where they make the beer, the assembly lines, and you can see there's a piece of foam on top of that. There's going to be a walkway to go over the road to the other building, which is a distribution center slash warehouse. Again, that's going to be another flat. And we see in the distance where the cars go inside, 2 box cars. One for inside where they're unload all, I'm sorry, the one outside is when they unload all the materials they need, like boxes, packing, anything they need like that, bags. And then the other car, which is inside, will be a refrigerator car for all the perishables and the beer itself, and to be taken out to the rest of the state or the local town itself. So that's the plan for the brewery, and I may add some stuff in the foreground here, maybe another building or something. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out as I go along. So one of the next projects that I've done right after the other update was I repainted the station here, and I've added some decals and some poster boards and stuff like that in the station underneath itself. It's really hard to see anyways, so I'm just going to leave the New York Central passenger car there. But I repainted it into almost the style of the New York Central, weathered it a little better, and the brick is darker. Looks a little more realistic than the gray roof that it had originally, and so on and so forth with the other buildings. I think I have done from the last update. Now the next step, as you can see here, I started some of the roads, but I don't like how some of the boards came out. They're not fitting the right way, and it's just really a hassle because my roads aren't even enough to do what I wanted to do. So there's this, it's like this concrete paste that I've looked on Mile Railroad Hobbyist online on YouTube, and if you look for that video of 2016, he actually shows you how you use it. It's really just a putty. It's almost like plastic, but it's actually concrete, and it dries gray like concrete and becomes hard. And if you tear it up, it actually almost looks like rubber when you tear it off, and you might be able to reuse it again. So I kind of got that idea, and honestly I'm just going to paste the layout with the roads, mark it the way I want them to look, and just use that and use the wood that I have here to make the sidewalks. I think that's going to be a lot more easier to figure out than anything else. And then eventually, the crossing gates will be in place, and see some of the wood is in place over here, and that's going to be, probably do the wood crossings. Not sure yet. Maybe we'll do the concrete crossings, or paint them black to represent the modern ones that you see along the main lines. I'm sure many of you probably noticed some of the trees that appear brown. Still waiting to buy more material to finish the trees. Plus, we're trying to let the weather get cool a little bit before I go outside. It's really warm here in Nashville, and I like doing this kind of stuff in the fall and the winter. So I have a lot more trees. I have Woodland Scenics tree armatures that are finished that need more of those poly cotton stuff to be sprayed on and all that stuff. So I got a lot more trees to put on. So I'm nowhere near close to finishing with trees. So that's another project I like to get done before the end of the year. So the newest addition to the layout is the Stone Arch Bridge. It has been modified from the old layout, and my friend who made some rough drafts with the foam for the other bridge, he gave them to me, see if I could ever use them, and of course I used them, as you can see here. And I have these foam boards from the old layout as the retaining walls for the tunnel, if you remember the old layout in New York. And I cut them to size, glued them together, and I added extra pieces here and here, so they have its own supports and it has its own pillars and everything. So the only thing really needs now is to be painted. The top here has to be painted and weathered, and probably some vines and some shrubbery around it maybe, and all it needs is just to be ballast, and this whole section of the track will be done. And then the next step will be to put the water, and this scene will be complete along with the waterfall. Okay, not much of this section of the layout has been done, and honestly there's not much left to do except for the extension and some wiring. The signal bridge here, I've positioned it on the other side, that way it's easier for the crew to see the signals. Also holds these two boards together. And the newest stuff that I recently bought, which I heard that Caboose Industries, I don't know if the guys retiring or they're going out of business. I heard something like that. If it's true, it's true. If it's not, correct me. But I bought some of the, you see here, some of the switch machines, the manual ones. So they work really well. So a couple of the switches have them. I need to work on a little more track wiring for the switches themselves as the trains run smoother. Since I am now doing more operating sessions, I need everything to run smooth as possible. So it's more of a learning experience at this point. But yeah, there's not much else going on in this section except for that. And all the buildings here are wired for the most part, except for the freight house, which is right next to the engine house here. That's going to be the next step. The one behind it, and you can see it over here. That's the next thing. It's going to be lit up. And then just people, once you get all the wiring done, this be ballasted, and I put the water in. All the waterfalls have to be done before I finish up this section here. And you can get an idea of what the bakery is going to look like in this section here. Still going to buy buffers and derailments, little derailment blocks and stuff like that. Just some detail stuff has to go on here. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the entire update. I'm sorry that's not as much stuff as I want to show you guys, but again, I've been really busy. So I'd rather be busy working than busy working on a layout. Make more money, right? So hopefully by the end of this month, the goal is to have the switch in place and buy more power joiners. That's where all the switches work correctly, and I don't have any shorts. That's where the locomotive won't stop here and there. Just want to have everything running smooth. That's what I can do. What I got to do with this layout for the operating sessions. There's a few things I like to get done before the end of the year. Before Christmas time, I would like to have the city complete wired and lit up with the road completely finished. And then all I have to do is detail work. I mean, I could do the whole of the week, for goodness sakes, so that's the whole point, is to hopefully get this whole little section done. People love the layout when they come to visit, and I hate showing them the same thing over and over again. I'd rather get something finished and actually encourage me to finish it. So the roads and sidewalks, light up the buildings. I like to ballast the track fully, if I could do that. And then later on, probably next year, would be to work on these buildings here, the brewery and the bakery, do the scenery on the bakery. And what's cool about this is this is like temporary, this board. So I'm probably gonna take it off, that way I can work on the roads and everything before I completely finish the layout and the extension. And then obviously detail the bridges, make more trees. So there's a lot of stuff I need to do and I want to do. That way when people come over, they can say, oh wow, this layout looks a lot more finished, you know. So that's the whole goal right now. And another goal is to have a skirt for the table skirt going around the layout. That's where I can hide all the mess underneath. It looks more like furniture. So folks, that's pretty much it for the whole layout. Again, hopefully the next update I should have a lot more stuff done. That is the plan. So I hope everybody has a good week. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night. All right, bye.